Okay, I'm gonna do a review of the Tremont Hotel in Port of Galveston. We're gonna talk about what did we like about it, what did we not like about it, how was it in flying into the Hobby Airport in Texas, and more to come. So we got into the to the Hobby Airport in Houston, which is what we flew into, which is about 45 minutes away from the Port of Galveston. There are two airports you can fly into in Houston. Houston International is a little bit farther. Hobby is a little bit closer to the port. More at the end. If you want to hear more about that, you can scroll to the end. But it took us about an hour and 15 minutes to get to the Tremont Hotel in the Port of Galveston. Normally it'd be 45 minutes. It was a busy time. It was a peak time period. It was interesting. When we got into the airport, when I first pulled up Uber, we decided to take Uber. It was around $80 one way to get there. Literally within 10 minutes when I pulled it up again, because we weren't quite ready to do it, it went up to $130. So no, there are a difference in price points from $80 to $130, and it took about an hour and 15. So we got there pretty early. We got there at 11 a.m. and normal check-in time, I believe, is 3 p.m. But we were really lucky. Even though it was busy, there was a ton of people going on a cruise actually in the lobby. They had kept up with it. And while we were there, we were able to check into our room already at 11 a.m. Can't guarantee that every time, but we were able to, and they gave us the key. So we were able to get into our room early, which was awesome because we could drop up our luggage and go get lunch right away. So it's kind of got that, they kept that original style. It was decorated for Mardi Gras. So we were there actually the week before Mardi Gras. And we had no idea that Mardi Gras is actually a very big thing in Port of Galveston. Who knew? So they've actually been doing it for 150 years. And so they were already decorating. So you could see the little touches they were putting in, getting ready for Mardi Gras events that were going to be happening the following week. When you get up to the lobby, there are stairs. I believe there was an elevator available. I did not see one visually, but I'm thinking because there was valet services, either they would take care of your luggage and there was an elevator somewhere else. But no, if you have some mobility issues, you will be taking some stairs. However, there is valet and there is an elevator. Again, it was really busy with cruisers. So this is definitely a prime cruise area. We'll talk a little bit about how close you really are to the cruise ports. Just know that there is a shuttle available that the Tremont offered right outside the hotel that can take you to the cruise ports or other places throughout the town. We did not take the shuttle. We ended up just choosing to Uber if we couldn't walk to it. There were coffee and breakfast, and I would call it kind of grab and go items inside the lobby called Blum & Co. Again, right off the lobby. I did have a very limited menu, and in my opinion, it was a little pricey. It was very, very good food. The yogurt, the toast, it was very good food, but it probably wasn't 100% what you would like for an American breakfast. You could make some substitutions. So just request that if you want some substitutions. And then it had some grab and go kind of items for you as well. The lobby had very comfortable seating. It was kind of airy, I would call it. It was small, but it had comfortable seating, sofa. There was seating at the bar if you wanted to. The interior then was kind of, like I said, airy. So it kind of moved up through the halls of the hotel so you could kind of see up. And gave it kind of that airy feeling. When you actually got into the interior hallways of the hotel room, though, they were pretty dark. Kind of that, I guess I would call that old-fashioned feeling with kind of some ornate furnitures that would be off the elevator, kind of down the hallway itself. It does have conference rooms. We didn't actually go in any of the conference rooms, but it kind of has a long hallway that you could get there where weddings, or there was a wedding there that day as well. And it kind of has the history of the Tremont along the wall, which is really interesting. We actually read some of the history of the Tremont Hotel. It was originally built in 1839 until the large hurricane hit. And the large hurricane, you'll hear more about that history if you go, is kind of what gave the haunted feeling, if you will, or haunted history to the Tremont. So just know that is part of that history. And it is considered one of the historic hotels of America. So it does have that unique distinction as well. So the room that we had was room 442. It did have 2 queen beds and a pull-out sofa. It had a bench. It had a tub shower combo. No, our tub actually did not hold water. We actually wanted to use the tub, had to put like a towel there. It didn't hold water. It did have a large closet. It did have a coffee Keurig machine with some tea, and it actually had some quality, in my opinion, quality tea and quality coffee. off, but otherwise I'd say it was just probably a standard room. But it was plenty of space. There was 3 of us. It was me, my husband, and my son, so plenty of space that way. The main reason we chose it, though, was it's literally a block off of the main hub of Port of Galveston, if you will, where there's restaurants and shops and bars. You can actually buy a drink at the shop and drink right there, or drink. They have open air shops when we were there, the weather was like in the 40s, so it was cold, and they were open. And people were, grabbing a drink and sitting outside the shop or inside the shop with their drink. So a really good way to kick off your cruise time, if you will. The cruise port was walkable to certain cruise lines. Like literally Carnival you could see it from our hotel block, and people were taking their suitcases and just walking to the port. So definitely one of the main highlights is how the proximity you are to some of the cruise ports and to some of the shops and restaurants. Now, we were getting on Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas, so we took an Uber. It was literally just a mile down. We probably could have walked it if we wanted to, but we had our luggage and we just chose to take the 3 to 5 minute Uber ride to the cruise port. There is a trolley that goes through town. We actually wanted to take it. We ended up running out of time. There is a map you can get actually at the Tremont Hotel that will tell you where it stops and where it picks up. It's only $1, so it's very, very inexpensive. And when we were there, we were still there on standard time, not daylight savings. And so it only goes until dusk, is kind of what some of the rules were. And we just didn't find the time. We were busy doing other things to get on that trolley, but just know that's an option. We did eat at the Shark Shack, which had some kind of signature. We ordered the signature items. One was the fish and chips, which my husband gave about a 7 out of 10. He thought it was pretty good. And then I ordered the sriracha chicken sandwich, and honestly, I didn't really care for it. It was kind of bland. I guess I was expecting it to have a little bit of a kick. And it was about a 5 out of 10. I would have given that. But my son and I had actually some of our favorite ice cream in a very, very, very long time. It was called La King's Confectionery. And if we could give it a 20 out of 10, we would. We actually went there twice. We ordered the old-fashioned butterscotch sundae, which the butterscotch was thick and just ooey and gooey. And it had the whipped cream and the peanuts and the cherry. And you could, of course, modify it if you have a nut allergy in that. And then my son ordered the strawberry shake, which came in a tin that you filled up your glass shake container, and he actually ended up getting like 3 glass containers out of this tin, because they just give you the tin if you're eating it there and not to go. So it was just a really very quality ice cream, very fun experience, kind of has that old school feeling to it. It also has homemade chocolates and caramels and cones and all sorts of other things there. As a matter of fact, the street itself had several sweet shops as well as other restaurants. So if ice cream and chocolates aren't your thing, you can go down the street, and there was a caramel apple place and other things too that had some fun sweets, if you will, if you have a sweet tooth. And I do, if you've followed me at all. Our favorite restaurant, though, was actually called Tequila Rocks. I ordered this. It was so good. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It was the chicken tortilla soup, and it was seriously the best chicken tortilla soup I've ever had. It was very unique. I'll insert a picture if I have one. I'm pretty sure I do. It was very, very, very good. The margaritas, on the other hand, were very bland. We did have the margarita. We would give it just a 4 or 5 out of 10. It was pretty bland to us. It was the original margarita. So if you like a bland margarita, this might be for you. For us, we like a little bit more kick to it. One of the fun things that we did was we did the private museum for the Haunted Mansion, which is the Mayfield Manor Haunted Mansion. And then right next to it, the same owners, actually, there's a pirate themed as well. Every 30 minutes while it's open, while we were there, it was just the weekend, and we were there on the weekend before we got on the cruise, you could sign up online, and there was a QR code like right outside the door that you could just do your QR code when it was closed, and then sign up for a time slot. And they have 30-minute time slots. Now, our time at the Haunted Mansion did not take 30 minutes. It was literally only about 15 minutes. So keep that in mind. It was about $15. We actually thought it was quite fun. My youngest son laughed and laughed and laughed because I did get a couple jump scares, and so did my husband, and he just thought that was hilarious. So if you have some kids, now that I'm told the pirate one is also good. We did not do that one. But if that is something that interests you, if you have kids, please, I think it's worth the time to do it. One thing that was kind of interesting is at the haunted Mayfield Manor, they actually told us ghost hunters, if you're a fan of ghost hunters, and my husband is, on the television show, they've actually been there twice, and they claim it was the most active they've seen for ghosts. So I'll leave it to you with the history and how that works. And they talk a little bit about the history at that haunted mansion, but I'll leave it to you to know what your experience was. And actually, if you've been there, comment below. I'd love to hear comments on what experiences you had with the haunted mansion. We did take an Uber over to Pleasure Pier, which was about a 15-minute Uber ride. And you have to pay to enter the kind of, I guess I'll call it fair-like or amusement-like rides. We did not want to do any of the amusement rides. It seemed a little small. There was people there. The day we went there was pretty cloudy. It was windy. It was rough waters, and we just weren't really interested in doing any of the rides. But if that interests you, know you'll have to pay to get into the actual, I guess I'll call it amusement park. But there is a long sidewalk that you can walk along the beach. Again, the day we were there was pretty heavy waves. We did walk some of the rocks out into like a rock pier, if you will, to kind of walk out there and kind of walk the strip. But otherwise, we weren't there very long. But that is an option if you would like to go check out that area as well. That had some restaurants and some bars as well. Maybe on a nice day it would have been fun, but again, the day we were there, it just wasn't. It was kind of cool and windy. So what was it like then at the port itself? So again, we talked about there's several cruise ships. It was busy. The day we were getting on the cruise ship was actually a very nice warmer day. And so there was a lot more people there as people came in for other cruise ships. So no parking could be an issue. So really research that. Again, we Ubered, so we didn't have that problem, but we talked to others that did. So really research. It's a really cute town, but can get very congested. So again, we flew into the Hobby Houston, Texas airport. I already talked about the price points. There were several restaurants inside that airport. It was very busy. When we got off the plane to get to the concourse, it was a good walk. I mean, it was very busy. You were kind of back to back. It kind of felt like everybody maybe landed at the same time, and we landed at like 9:30 in the morning. So you wouldn't think that would be a very busy time, but it was. It was packed. Now, it was President's Day weekend when we were there. And it was probably a good 10 to 15 minute walk to baggage claim area or to where we could get our Uber. So if you have mobility issues, you might want to ask for some assistance because it can get pretty congested. One thing that was kind of unique when we were leaving, going back to the airport, was it had a glasses car wash station for your glasses. So I did check that to get my glasses washed. I'd never seen that before. It was $5. You can actually wash your jewelry. So if you're on a beach and you get sand in your things, it has a station there where you can wash things. Another thing to note, that when we came back off of Harmony of the Seas, and I'll be talking about that Harmony of the Seas cruise. So keep like and subscribe if you're finding this helpful at all. It really does help move my channel forward. And also if you want to hear more about our Harmony of the Seas cruise or any other cruises that we're doing. But it took a significant time to get on the shuttle to get back to the airport. So on the return, when we got off Harmony of the Seas, that part was pretty efficient getting off the ship, but we waited and we were very early in line. We're talking 8:30 in the morning. We waited about 45 minutes for them to load the shuttle services to head back to the airport. That was the longest I would say it's taken on any of our cruises to load up. They were very, very kind. It just took a significant time. Now, it was fine. We had plenty of time for our flights, but if it's raining or inclement weather or you have an early flight, keep in mind, it is not a fast moving place to get out of the Port of Galveston to get back to Hobby Airport. So just more of a PSA. So again, if you found this helpful at all, please give me a like and subscribe. It really helps move my channel forward, and we'll talk soon.